All right, guys, we're moving on to section 9.2. So this is 9.2. This is going to be rotations and dilations. All right. So rotations are a rigid transformation, meaning after we map the figure, move the figure, it's going to be congruent to the figure that it was before. So the pre-image and image are going to be congruent. Now, a dilation means the figure is getting bigger or smaller, so that is not a rigid transformation since the pre-image and image will not be two congruent figures, okay? So rotations, we're doing two types of rotations. The first one is about the origin. So rotations about the origin are pretty simple. You just have to change the coordinates, okay? And we have rules for that. So as long as you have the rules, and it would be a good idea to, you don't have to print off the notes. Obviously, they're there just so you can look back at them. But it might be good to write this down in a notebook, okay? Write the rules down once we get there. So the first thing is a rotation is just a turn. All right, so we're just turning the figure around a fixed point called the center of rotation. Just some vocab here. Not too crazy difficult though. Rotation. Awesome. All right, so a figure rotates at a specific angle and direction, okay? Angle and direction. So in our case, we're going to use direction. We're going to use clockwise and counterclockwise. Specific angle will be like 90, 180, 270, okay? So, so you can rotate around any fixed point, but just to start off, and the most common center rotation is the origin, okay, which is the point 0, 0. So that is where we're going to be rotating first, okay? Now we have these three rules. These are the rules that you're going to want to write down, have with you to look back upon when you're working through the practice problems on Canvas. So again, we're using the form of x comma y. So for any coordinate, this could be like 5, 3, 6, 7, -5, -1, doesn't matter. For any xy coordinate, what we're going to do is we're going to change it to -y x, okay? So for an example, we have the coordinate, I'm just making this up out of the clear blue sky, 4, -1. What we're going to do is we're going to change that y coordinate and put it first. We're going to change, remember, if you see a negative, it means changing the sign. So our y coordinate is -1, so we're going to change it to a +1. We're going to put that 4 in the second position, but we don't change the sign or anything. So if we rotate something 90 degrees, that's how we're going to figure out the new coordinate of the image. So now let's move on to 180 degrees, okay? 180 degrees. So, and these are all counterclockwise, okay? As you can see, counterclockwise. Now, 180 degrees doesn't matter because it's going to end up in the same position, clockwise or counterclockwise. But anyways, for 180, x comma y, it's going to change to -x, -y, which means we're going to change the sign of both of those values. So again, using the coordinate 4, -1, if I use 4, -1, what's going to happen when we rotate 180 degrees, that coordinate is going to change to -4, all right, and +1. Okay, so moving on to 270, starting with x comma y, it's going to change to y comma -x. So for this one, using that same example, 4, -1 is going to change to -1 comma -4 because we're changing that x coordinates sign, okay? So let's go over a couple examples, and then I'm going to have you guys finish out the rest on your own, okay? And you can check your answers on the notes key. That's also on Canvas. So for this one, I'm not going to graph these, okay, guys? All I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through like how we find the coordinates for A prime, B prime, and C prime, okay? So we are rotating it 90 degrees counterclockwise, okay? 90 degrees counterclockwise. So I'm going to write our rule. I'm going to do all the work in the side here and then figure out A prime, B prime, and C prime. So our rule is x comma y to -y comma x, all right? So, and this is where, guys, it'd be good to, as you're going through and solving problems, have the rules next to you, okay? So write those down, and that way you can have them next to you and you're good to go. And that way it's real